Hey, principals, let's start with a simple distinction. Literacy is not about how fast students can get an answer. It's about how deeply they can think with a tool. On the left side, you see this passive consumption, but on the right side, you see constructive engagement. So our leadership challenge is, are we building students who are kind of outsourcing thinking, or are we building students who are orchestrating their own thoughts and thinking? So with this, we're talking about what AI literate students really do differently, evidence-based strategies on how AI can enhance and not replace student thinking. So right now we're thinking about the convenience trap. How convenient is it? So this graph shows a drop in cognitive engagement, really thinking about what that looks like. This slide makes a lot of leaders very uncomfortable, especially when I talk about it. And it should, right? The research shows the moment when AI takes over the thinking, brain activity pretty much drops. So convenience feels productive, but it often bypasses the struggle, which I hear a lot of professors complain about as well, that actually builds understanding. If we don't intervene and support our students effectively, it becomes the enemy of learning. So these three pillars help us think of AI literacy. These three pillars, constructive, creative, and responsible, these three pillars are kind of like your North Star. Constructive means that students are co-building knowledge, working together. Creative means that they're expanding their ideas without losing their authentic voice. And responsible means that they understand the ethics, because we've taught them, the bias, and the ownership. And notice the foundation, which is the base. The student is the pilot, right? They are flying the plane. AI supports the learning. It doesn't drive it. Really understanding this is key in moving forward. Now, this part is crucial. The thinking partner versus the solution provider. Either write this for me or a reflective prompt. So this is where I think many classrooms go wrong. When AI becomes the solution provider, thinking kind of shuts down. But when it's used as a thinking partner, challenging logic, identifying gaps, learning accelerates. It's our job as leaders to help teachers design for reflection and not replacement. And this is a crucial part in supporting our teachers when on their AI journey. So I like to say, come up with the great ideas before you automate. There's this 4-step process. 1, the spark. 2, the draft. 3, the fan. And 4, the fire. Right? And so looking at this slide policy is kind of golden, if you ask me. If students start with AI, their work starts to look the same. When they start with their own ideas, AI can amplify their original ideas instead of erasing it. The rule is simple, thinking about securing the spark before you fan the flame. And that is crucial in introducing AI to any idea, any concept. But if you start with AI, your ideas will look like everyone else. Now, here's what I like to tell all leaders, all teachers, and even students. AI has a parrot hallucination problem, and it's important for you to be able to identify the hallucinations, the biases, and the fabrication of information and content. Now, we are using all of these tools, and there's something to be said about a tool that gives you one answer, because typically there's never really one answer to a problem. And sometimes AI sounds so confident, even when it's wrong. It fabricates stories, even fabricates sources, right? And it reinforces stereotypes and biases, and it even invents statistics. So be wary of that. This is why AI literacy is really important and critical for critical thinking, right? Students must be able to kind of learn to verify the sources and verify everything that AI puts out. And your accuracy is not automated, right? It's taught. So really looking at every piece that AI provides and being able to juxtapose it with research, validity, and data. Okay, now we're talking about reading comprehension and understanding the sequence matters. Here, I'm crossing out the summary trap versus the synthesis method. Think about that. This is a big one for our reading people like me. I'm literacy all day. If students ask to summarize, they haven't really read. They lose the ability to really digest the story and evaluate its accuracy. So you cannot really spot hallucinations in a text if you haven't really engaged in the text. So reading still comes first, and of course we know AI comes second. Then there's the huge piece on who actually is the learner, the beginners versus the intermediate. Look at the graph. Here's the truth. Beginners who rely on AI may finish faster, but learn less. Intermediates, students with the foundational knowledge, use AI to kind of extend their understanding. This tells us something about critical. AI works best after instruction and not instead of it. And now it's this idea of upgrading your prompts. Command to dialogue. So fix my essay versus reflective feedback request. Right? And so thinking about this slide pretty much changes classrooms immediately. When students command AI, thinking stops. But when they dialogue with AI, the thinking deepens. They're asking for feedback, not fixes. It keeps students in control of their learning. It's a shift that leaders can model and reinforce. So now we have what I call the feedback loop, right? The cycle, the circle process. We call it the circular process, when student has editor in chief and you're constantly going back and forth, right? This is what's healthy. AI kind of looks like this in practice. Students draft independently, AI provides feedback, no judgment. Student decides whether to accept or reject it, and the ownership stays human focused, right? And that's pretty much academic integrity in action. Now here's the main parts, the red line students have to be taught. Bold quote about copy and paste, right? And this is something that's just non-negotiable, right? The moment a student copies and pastes, AI output is their own, they kind of give up the most valuable part of learning, and that's the cognitive work. So thinking about how we talking about integrity policies, and then how they should protect the thinking and not just prevent cheating. Which brings us to metacognition. Be able to reflect, questions, clarify, or kind of get rid of. AI-literate students reflect on how the tool has shaped their thinking. Did it clarify the idea? Did it kind of take away or dilute their voice? Awareness is the ultimate skill. When students can answer that question, we know that true learning is happening. So I'm a big advocate. Keep learning at the center, right? I'm going to definitely close with this. AI is a powerful engine, but the leadership is pretty much the steering wheel. Learning requires a little friction, reflection, and a sense of decision making. The goal isn't to create better AI users, it's to develop stronger thinkers. And I hope that's what you get from this. All right, talk to you later.